everybody, my name is Mrs. Moore. As Mr. Keane said, I'm the Head of Early Childhood here at AISHK, and this is my third year in Hong Kong. Prior to coming to Hong Kong, I worked at the Association of Independent Schools of New South Wales. Before that, I had 8 years in a primary school in the eastern suburbs in Sydney called AISHK, where I worked in classrooms and also in leadership roles. And prior to that, way too many years in different primary schools across Australia and a little bit in Canada. I have 3 children of my own, so that's just a little bit about me. So I have 2 roles, and the first of that is the Head of Early Childhood, and that encompasses looking after all the students, all the families, all the teachers across reception, where we have an AM and PM class, prep, where we have 4 classes, year 1, again 4, and year 2. And so I work very closely with Mr. Reid in terms of curriculum in the early learning years, and I also work closely with our learning enrichment team, because we know that the critical building blocks for literacy and numeracy occur in these early years of schooling. I also oversee all the pastoral care across all of those year groups, and just generally get lots of hugs and have a wonderful time, and it is probably the best job in the world. So my second role here is across the school. So I work as the coordinator of professional learning, and within that role I work with teachers from reception all the way to year 12, and we concentrate on how we develop our teachers to work together as a collective and to learn together and to grow together, because the more that we do share our professional learning and our research, the better off we are in terms of hitting those outcomes for students. So we want to continuously improve student engagement, student academic achievement, student wellbeing, and indeed overall student life outcomes later on as they leave school and go off to university and pursue their careers. And so part of that is working on a professional learning community. And for example, over the last year we have mixed up groups, so we've had groups with 8 to 10 people that have had representatives from high school, secondary, faculties, primary, early childhood specialists, and they've focused on different research areas, some of which have been around increasing student agency and voice, improving our engagement in different subjects, stretching more students, how do we continue to grow those high potential students and not just let them coast. And then we come back and we bring our research groups back together and we share our learning, and that makes us grow as a whole school. We've also worked in the last 2 years on building a coaching framework. So we've got outside people in to come and help us develop across our middle leaders a really strong sense of coaching their teams. And then that then plays out into how do we positively coach our students. So those are the 2 main projects I've been working on in the past 2 years, and they're ongoing, and we will continue to work on those. In addition to those 2 roles, I sit on the primary executive with Mr. Reid and Mr. Keane, and then I also sit on the senior executive that's led by Mr. Hempel. I also just wanted to talk briefly about wellbeing. Wellbeing is integral to everything that we do at AISHK. And wellbeing is a very broad term. It consists of a multiple of different perspectives. It's about a sense of belonging and connectedness. It's about how we manage our emotions. It's about how we develop mindsets and attitudes to learning. It's about how we relate in the world with our peers and our teachers and our community. And it's about how we develop other character strengths like resilience and perseverance in adversarial times, some of which we are definitely going through at the moment. So if we explore wellbeing a little bit further, if we look at the World Health Organization definition of wellbeing, It talks about well-being being a state of mental, physical and social health. So it's a positive aspect about developing a state of well-being, not just merely well-being or health being an absence of being sick. It's something that we have to actively pursue. It's an aspirational goal to have a sense of well-being and health. We know conclusively from the research that the better your sense of well-being, the more likely you are to achieve academically to your full potential. And so that is why we spend so much time looking at different ways that we can encourage students and work with them from the age of 4 all the way to the age of 18 on developing this strong sense of well-being. You can't buy in a well-being package. It has to all be interwoven together, and different things work better for different years. So we have a really strong wellbeing team here, which I'll talk a little bit about in a moment. But when I talk about the different ways or approaches to wellbeing, they can loosely be drawn under an umbrella, I suppose, of the 5 ways to wellbeing. And those ways are to connect, to be active, to give, to take notice and to keep learning. And they are the 5 interrelated aspects that we funnel our wellbeing programs through. Every teacher is a teacher of wellbeing. It's nobody's singular responsibility to look after all the wellbeing in a school. We all consider ourselves to be teachers of wellbeing. But our official team consists of our Director of Wellbeing, Mrs. Kylie Murphy, our Head of PDHPE, Mrs. Kath Ellis, our 2 school counsellors, who are Miss Bernadette Spencer in the high school and Miss Jean McPherson in the primary school. Plus we have the Student Services team, which backs them up. And of course I sit on that, as does the Secondary Dean of Studies and our Primary Dean of Studies, Mr. Reid. I just wanted to thank you for viewing our Parent Information Evening. It's a different way of presenting it, but I hope you feel that you've got some information on the primary school and broadly about our school in general, and we can't wait for our families and students to be back here. Thank you.